Huawei Mate 60 and iPhone 15 simultaneously debut. Can Huawei challenge Apple? Has China's 7nm chip breakthrough defied US sanctions? How far can CCP's technological nationalism go? On August 30th, Apple officially released the invitation for its iPhone 15 autumn launch event. Interestingly, the day before, on August 29th, during the visit of U.S. Commerce Secretary Raymond to China, Huawei introduced the Mate 60 smartphone without holding a new product launch event. The introduction of Huawei's new smartphone sent China's social media users and state-run media into a frenzy. A Chinese Weibo blogger shared teardown data, claiming that this Huawei phone is equipped with a 7nm chip and achieved impressive 5G network speeds. The official tabloid, Global Times, heavily promoted this, suggesting that Huawei's phone launch demonstrated the failure of the U.S. aggressive suppression of China. The praise for Huawei's new smartphone in the Chinese media is driven by the CCP's encouragement and tolerance of nationalist sentiments. However, strangely, Huawei's official stance on the technical details of the Mate 60 smartphone is quite low-key. There is no 5G indication or information about the chip manufacturer on its website or in sales descriptions. At the same time, the release of Apple's new iPhone generated heated discussion in China. In the early hours of September 13th, Apple launched the brand new iPhone 15, which garnered widespread attention from Chinese netizens, with Weibo readings exceeding 2.4 billion. However, unlike previous years, China's Sina Weibo immediately removed Apple launch event from the trending topics. Promoting Huawei and suppressing Apple in the Chinese media is undoubtedly orchestrated by the CCP. However, the Chinese people of today are more concerned about reality. On September 22nd, the first day of official sales for Apple's iPhone 15, over 2 million units of the iPhone 15 series were sold. In contrast, in the first week after the launch of the Huawei Mate 60 series, it sold just over 800,000 units, and as of September 23rd, sales had reached approximately 2 million units. This is roughly the same number of units that Apple sold in just one day, covering 3 weeks of Huawei's sales.
Today is the
first day of the iPhone 15's release. Look at the crowd here. This is an Apple flagship store in Wuhan. I've already got it in my hands now. You really have to scramble to get one. Without scrambling, you won't be able to experience it because there are too many people. The level of excitement is beyond imagination.
It's currently 7:39 in the morning, and I'm right here at the entrance of the Shenzhen Apple Store. Today is the launch of the iPhone 15 series, and even at this early hour, there are already a lot of people in line. May I ask, what time did you arrive here?
I got here at 7 o'clock.
What time did you wake up?
I didn't sleep last night.
What color did you pre-order?
I pre-ordered the blue one.
You can see that there are a lot of people here, and those who managed to get ones have happy smiles on their faces.
This gentleman is first in line, and he might just be the first iPhone 15 series user in Shanghai. Just a quick question, what time did you arrive here?
It was a little after 5 o'clock. I got here early in the morning.
Which model did you pre-order?
I pre-ordered the Pro Max in the original color.
It's now 7:45 a.m. Beijing time, and as you can see, there are already a lot of people waiting inside. Most of them are young people.
No matter how much the Chinese authorities praise Huawei and use nationalist sentiments to incite the Chinese people, in the high-end smartphone market in China, Apple still dominates. Even if Huawei has developed a 7nm chip, its quality cannot match the 3nm or 4nm chips used in Apple's phones. So, what is the Chinese government's intention in supporting Huawei while suppressing Apple in this instance? On September 6th, the Wall Street Journal reported that Chinese government employees were being instructed not to use iPhones during work or bring them into the workplace. Subsequently, Bloomberg and Nikkei Asia reported that this ban would extend to employees of state-owned enterprises and public institutions. Following this news, Apple's stock price fell by approximately 6% within 2 days, resulting in a $200 billion drop in its market capitalization. This move has been seen by observers as a retaliatory measure by the CCP due to U.S. sanctions on Chinese tech companies like Huawei and SMIC, which have limited China's access to advanced chips and chip manufacturing technology. Official statistics indicate that there are nearly 8 million government employees within the CCP system, and when including those in public institutions, the number surpasses 80 million people. Additionally, the CCP claims to have approximately 98 million party members. If tens of millions of people in China are banned from using iPhones, it could indeed have a significant impact on Apple as a company. The CCP's caution and pressure on Apple are not recent developments. According to a manager at a Beijing state-owned enterprise, there have been restrictions on the use of Apple phones in various CCP-affiliated entities, including the military, government, and state-owned enterprises, for many years. These restrictions stem from concerns about software that monitors employees and invades their privacy, such as the DingTalk app, which cannot be installed on Apple devices. In fact, iPhones assembled in China have already been modified to comply with CCP requirements. Some netizens have listed over 30 functions that have been crippled in Chinese mainland versions of iPhones. These restrictions include disabling the eSIM module, not including 5G mmWave capabilities, and prohibiting 3D modeling of iconic buildings.
The third feature that got cut was Walkie Talkie, which provides a local area network-based chat function. This feature is very convenient. Within the same room or on the same local network, you can use it directly without relying on the network provided by telecom operators. So, why was this feature disabled? It's quite simple. Authorities require all calls to be backed up and recorded on central servers. In case you say something incorrect, they can immediately apprehend you. In the past, QQ also had a similar feature, but later, the government disallowed it. This feature definitely can't be used within China because once you use it, it's like having many mobile phone calls that the government can't record, which is not permitted. Consequently, the walkie-talkie feature was directly disabled.
Apple's iPhones have long been favored by individuals within the Chinese system because of their strong data security features. Senior CCP officials, corporate executives, and social elites often have one or several iPhones because they trust Apple's ability to protect sensitive information such as financial data, corruption-related information, and overseas assets. Apple devices are also popular among Chinese youth, which is something the CCP finds worrisome. During the 2019 Hong Kong anti-extradition protests and the late 2022 wallpaper movement in mainland China, young people in both regions used the AirDrop feature on iPhones to share protest-related information. For a long time, the CCP has maintained a high level of suspicion and caution regarding foreign information and internet technologies, driven by political considerations for stability and control. In the past, companies like Google and LinkedIn were forced to exit the Chinese market. During the pandemic, the Chinese government invested billions of dollars in efforts to replace imported computers and software with domestic alternatives in government agencies and central enterprises. Even though Apple is a company that has complied with many of the Chinese government's requirements and has created over 3 million jobs in China, the CCP continues to exert pressure on the company. This reflects the CCP's ongoing efforts to maintain information opacity, prevent sensitive information leaks, and ensure the stability of its regime. Let's take a closer look at Huawei smartphones, which are being promoted by the CCP. Since May 2019, the United States has imposed sanctions on Huawei, prohibiting the company from obtaining advanced semiconductor chips that contain American technology. However, on August 29th, the Huawei Mate 60 Pro was suddenly released. How was its chip manufactured? Has the US ban become ineffective? On September 4th, a well-known Canadian research institution, Tech Insights, tested the Kirin 9000's processor used in Huawei smartphones and confirmed that it is a 7-nanometer semiconductor chip. From various characteristics, it appears that this chip was manufactured by Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, SMIC. SMIC is one of China's largest semiconductor manufacturers and is currently capable of stable production of 14-nanometer chips. Since SMIC falls under the umbrella of the CCP's civil-military integration strategy and has military connections, it has been subject to U.S. sanctions. In December 2020, the U.S. Department of Commerce placed SMIC on its entity list. As a result, SMIC has been unable to obtain advanced EUV lithography equipment from Dutch company ASML, but it can still purchase lower-end DUV lithography machines. Using DUV lithography machines and multiple patterning technology, SMIC can produce 7-nanometer chips. SMIC's co-CEO Liang Mengsong publicly stated in December 2020 that the development of 7-nanometers technology had been completed, and by April 2021, it could enter the risk production phase. SMIC has also been working on 5 nanometers and 3 nanometers technology. In July 2022, Tech Insights found SMIC's 7-nanometer chips in products from Minerva, a U.S. Bitcoin mining company. These chips have been shipping since July 2021 and are suspected of infringing on TSMC's technology. SMIC has a history of serious intellectual property disputes related to advanced semiconductor chip development, including allegations of technology theft from Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC. Many key figures at SMIC, from founder Zhang Ruilin to key technical personnel like Jiang Shengyi and Liang Mengsong, have backgrounds at TSMC. TSMC filed for lawsuits against SMIC for technology theft between 2002 and 2006, ultimately resulting in SMIC paying $200 million in damages to TSMC and transferring 8% of its shares to TSMC. While SMIC uses DUV lithography machines and multiple patterning techniques to produce 7-nanometers chips, TSMC had initially used a similar approach but later switched to EUV lithography due to low yields. Unfortunately, SMIC cannot access EUV lithography machines due to U.S. sanctions. SMIC is heavily influenced by the CCP and is determined to develop advanced semiconductor chips at any cost. Its goal is to enable the CCP to compete with and surpass the United States and free societies in the field of technology. Taiwan has spent several decades establishing mature chip manufacturing processes. The CCP is not willing to invest heavily in basic research and talent development. Instead, its development approach involves methods such as taking shortcuts, which rely on poaching talent, stealing technology, and pouring money into the industry. Stealing can take various forms, including espionage, infiltration, forcing technology transfer from foreign companies operating in mainland China, and luring top talent to the mainland with attractive offers. To develop semiconductor expertise, China has heavily relied on attracting talent from Taiwan through high salaries. In 2017, SMIC hired the former technical backbone of TSMC, Liang Mengsong, at a high price. The stock options Liang Mengsong received from SMIC were worth $2.37 million in 2020. In 2020, SMIC gifted Liang Mengsong a $3.4 million housing package and increased his annual salary to $4.93 million. SMIC has also hired headhunting firms in Taiwan and paid them substantial sums to recruit semiconductor experts. SMIC promised Taiwanese professionals that working at the company for 3 years would allow them to earn what they would make in Taiwan in 10 years. Over the past decade, the CCP has invested trillions of dollars in semiconductor projects, implemented industry subsidies, and offered tax incentives. From 2017 to 2019, SMIC received over 4 billion yuan, more than $600 million, in government subsidies. In 2022, SMIC had an effective tax rate of only 0.72%, almost negligible in terms of income tax payments. Currently, the chip used in the Huawei Mate 60 is only 3 to 4 years behind the world's most advanced technology. This pace of catching up should not be underestimated by the international community. The CCP operates without ethical boundaries and will go to great lengths to exploit loopholes in the United States and the international community systems. Out of fear of increased chip sanctions by the United States and the West, the CCP downplayed the promotion of the Huawei Mate 60, and Huawei's new product launch event on September 25 did not mention the 7nm chip or 5G. The United States and the international community must work together to confront the CCP head-on in critical technology areas, leaving it no room to breathe or survive, to prevent it from posing a threat to the world.